Hello my friends, and welcome to another watercolor tutorial. We are painting cherries today, if you cannot tell from, oh my gosh, I already spilled water everywhere. Great start. Oh boy. Alright, we are painting cherries based on what I have sketched out here. And I'm not done my sketch because I want to add leaves. This is inspired by Unger Easy Art. So I don't really know what cherry tree leaves look like, so I'm just going off of this image that I see, but you can easily look this up on the internet so that you have a reference as to what cherries look like. In fact, you can just trace it right off so you have an image, but I'm just drawing these leaves for myself so I have a reference, because I don't trust myself with leaf drawing. So I'm gonna just add maybe one more here, and this one's gonna turn over a bit. Something like that. That's good enough for me. I'm happy with that. Okay, so I know this is a little redundant, or not redundant, but I just like to erase my pencil marks so that they are light enough for me to see, but they're not too dark. I don't want them showing through my watercolors. So I'm gonna have to go grab a new paper towel because I spilled water all over it. But for now, I'm just going to see if I can make do. So why don't we paint our cherries first? Or no, because this is gonna be over, the stem of the cherry is gonna be overlapping the cherry, so maybe we should draw the stem first. Okay, I'll draw the little twig portion first. I'm gonna take brown watercolor, but I'm gonna add a fair bit of black to it to make it like this gray hue that fruit bark tends to be. I don't know if that's actually true. This is just based on some fruit trees that I've seen. They have kind of like a gray toned bark. So watering that down quite a bit, and just begin painting the twig portion. So it'll kind of go down like this. And of course it's going to be a little bit thicker. This isn't as gray as I want it to be. Maybe I should just pick up straight gray. There we go, and this is gonna this is where it's gonna branch off into the cherries. And you want to make your twig look very twiggy. Wow, enlightening, Julia. Very enlightening. What I mean by that is I want, like, don't make your edges very smooth like they are here at the top. You want them kind of jaggedy. And then I'm gonna have another little twig coming off of here. If you hear like a little hum in the background, it is because I have my heater in the bathroom. Which I know that this is gonna probably be released in like mid to late summer, so that will not make sense to a lot of you. But I am filming this in March, and we got 5 centimeters of snow last night. It's been like -10. The last couple nights. It's been pretty chilly. I'm not happy with my twig. I'm turning off my heater because now I'm getting too hot. I am all over the place. Okay, I'm just gonna pick up some like a lime green. And paint on the little stems of my cherries. Is that what you call them? I'm sure there's like a proper name for these guys. The green stems attached to a cherry. You guys are really good at educating me on the terminology of things, so let me know what this is called, botanically speaking. I'm gonna taper that end off where it touches the cherry. Not taper it off like it tapers outwards. Kind of like fans out a little bit. I'm gonna pick up a little bit of brown, like just something dark, and apply it to that portion that's touching the cherry. Okay, now what? Now we are going to do the leaves. I'm slightly kind of avoiding doing the cherries because I don't have a plan for them yet. I don't exactly know how I'm going to paint them. So I'm very familiar with what lemon leaves look like because I tried to grow a lemon tree once upon a while back, and it sprouted and it like grew into like a nice little I don't know, it was maybe a foot high. It had maybe 4 leaves, 5 leaves. But then I remember I left on vacation somewhere, so my family was supposed to take care of it, and you know how that goes. And it may not have even been their fault. It could have just been like the changing weather wasn't conducive to its growth, but nonetheless, that was like, it took a long time for that to grow as big as it did, so it was a bit of a bummer that it perished while I was gone. I'm adding a little bit of brown to my green here because I want these leaves to look rustic. Okay. I've got quite a headache going from lack of sleep. It's just a lot going on. My daughter has eczema on her face, and this has been going on for 3 months now. And I really didn't think that I'd still be dealing with this 3 months later. I really thought I could have solved it by now. and I'm trying to go the natural route because, you know, when they prescribe certain medications, it is just to suppress symptoms, and I don't want to suppress the messengers, you know. I want, the skin is telling me that something is wrong, so I need to figure out what it is. And typically skin issues mean gut issues, so it's an internal issue, and I've tried so many different creams before resulting to just like more natural methods, because the creams, you know, they're kind of, yeah, they're, none of them were like medicated. Actually, no, there was one, I'm not going to go into it on YouTube, but it's 3 months going now. I'm exhausted from holding this kid's hands down, and she's itchy all the time. So I know people have the best intentions when they say like, oh, have you tried putting socks on her hands? And I know they have good intentions, but no, I didn't think to put socks on her hands. After 3 months, I didn't think, I know I'm being like really mean. I'm just kind of at my wit's end with the eczema, and I'm just kind of, I am taking it out on innocent people. But yes, I have tried putting socks on her hands, but that doesn't stop the itching, unfortunately. And she rubs, and the friction causes her to, it opens up wounds too, just because she's not using her nails. If you rub something long enough, yeah, it'll cause issues. But anyone that I know is listening and you have suggested to put socks on, please know that this is not a direct attack at you. Because I think I've had about 10 people suggest that to me. And I know your intentions are good and pure. It's just like, you know, I'm sure you can relate if you've had a problem and people just keep telling you the obvious that you've already tried over and over again. You just become a little bit frustrated by it. So nothing towards anybody. I'm just tired. So I'm just finishing these leaves here. I didn't mean to go on a rant about my child's ailments. I've actually been making a point to not talk about it on here. But maybe this is one of those things, because usually when I talk about things going on in my life, I'm like, oh, well, this tutorial will be posted in 3 months. So by then this won't be an issue anymore. I hope that when this is posted in July, I think it's going to be posted in July or August, that I will look back and be like, ah, oh, those were hard times, but the hard times are over. Because we have solved what was causing the issues. So yeah, I'm adding some green and brown pigments to these leaves to make them look more rustic, which I know might seem a bit silly, but I do it nonetheless. Okay, these leaves actually are turning out a lot nicer than I was expecting. Typically my leaves for things don't look that nice. Also, my camera battery is gonna die. I don't know if I said that already. Just an all-around mess. So here, this was still kind of wet, I'm adding just some diagonal lines coming off of this to give the leaf a little bit more texture. I don't know what happened here, but anywhoosies. I think I'm just gonna leave those leaves to dry before I do anything else to them. I will now do something to the cherries. Well, paint the cherries, I suppose. So I'm gonna start off with just a regular red, and doesn't matter what the red is, guys, you can manipulate your colors. I know a lot of people get hot and heavy about me not talking, like mentioning the color names. I don't even have the card with the names, so I wouldn't be able to tell you what they are even if I wanted to. But I just I don't mention the names on here because I genuinely think that you do not need the exact colors to achieve a beautiful, equally beautiful, or even more beautiful painting. And proof of that is every single reference that I use, I have no idea what colors these people are using. I just use what I think looks closest, or I do my own thing because I have, you know, subjectively a better idea, and it ends up looking fine. And a lot of the times I like my version more than the reference. So I suggest that you just go with the flow. Well, I guess you have to, because I I don't have the color names. So I put on a very light, or maybe it was just a very watered down red, and I'm trying to lift off some of the color on the left because I want to put some yellow down. And then I'm going to take like a much darker red, or more pigmented. You can even add black to it. And I'm going to drop that kind of all around the cherry. I don't like how not round this cherry turned out to be. Like, not very cherry-like. Looks like a little bit like an apple. But anyways, I'm gonna pick up this plum color. I'm not sure what color that is, but again, like I said, you can just add black to your red and it'll probably result in a very similar color that I'm using right now. But I'm just dropping that color in on the right side of my cherry because I want there to be stark contrast between the red and the yellow. And that is still not dark enough for me, so I'm going to pick up the black and drop that in. Try to mix that in a little bit. There. So I am going to, later on when this dries, add like white highlights and white accents to make it look more like a cherry, because right now it doesn't really look like a cherry to me. I do have to let this dry before I paint the second cherry because I don't want it to bleed into the kind of yellowish part. So instead of using a hairdryer, I think I'll just let it dry naturally and finish the leaves because I want to add a bit more detail on the leaves. I'm going to take a green and try and add like the little veins that are present on these leaves. So sometimes when I add veins to leaves, it doesn't actually make it look that much better. I don't really like the look. It's probably because they have to be ultra thin for it to look nice. Like, I'm not a huge fan of how that turned out, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. I do want to add, I should have done this when this was still wet, add some like darker values to the center of the leaf. So I'm just adding it now while it's dry, which is obviously not ideal, but it'll do. I thought this tutorial was going to be 10 minutes long, and we're 21 minutes in. And we're still going. I still have another cherry to do. I'm taking black and just adding it on the left side of my twig to give it a, although looking at it now, I probably should have done it on the other side because it doesn't make sense that this side has the cherry reflection is on the left side, but on the twig it's on the right. Oh well. Nobody's gonna notice. Well, you guys will know that I said it, but okay. I'm just doing a few touch-ups on the twig. And I'm adding a little bit of green, I don't even know what you would call this. Some green details. Okay. I know this cherry isn't dry, guys, but I really don't want to pull out my hairdryer. I'm gonna have to blow dry this to be sure, and then we'll do the second cherry. So the first cherry should be dry, so I'm going to take the red again, water it down, and just fill in this second cherry. So I purposely want it to be kind of this lighter. This is why I added water and why I watered it down. I want it to be watered down because then I can add all my darker and lighter, like yellow colors on top and not have them impede my design choice. Okay, I apologize if I ever go off screen. I have a habit of doing that. So again, I'm taking my darker red and just adding that in. I forgot to do yellow. It doesn't really matter what order that you do it in, but I'm gonna pop the yellow down in there on the left side. And then I'm gonna pick up that like plum color that I used for this cherry. Plop that in there. Okay. Very good, very good. And what I'm gonna do to this one when it dries, I'm gonna do it now to this one, is I'm gonna take that plum color and kind of add it just below that green stem because I want to make it look, it might be a little too dark. I want to make it look like there's a little indent there, and as a result there's a little shadow. I'm going to do it here too when it dries. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is take white acrylic paint or white watercolor if yours is opaque enough. And I'm going to add like a little dot to the top left of my cherry here, and I'm going to also add a little reflection that runs along the top of that indent, or the just below that indent that we just painted. Now, okay, I know this might be a tad bit confusing, but I'm gonna take white watercolor now because I do want it to be more blendable, I guess you could say. And I'm just adding it on the left side of my cherry. I want to kind of fade it in and make it a little bit more distinct, or make this cherry more distinct from this one, so there's more of a contrast. And then I can go back in and add some more yellow if I wish, like that. And that, in my opinion, looks a lot better. You tell me. Even add a few more little glimmers on this cherry if you wish. Okay, so I'm gonna let this second cherry dry, and then actually before we do, sorry, I'm just wanting to smooth this portion down here because it came out a bit jaggedy. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna let this, no, sorry, one more thing. Because this faded, the red faded into the yellow, and it made it not how I wanted it there. Okay, let's let this dry. So this cherry should be dry, I hope it is. I'm gonna take that same plum color and just do that same like divot shadow that I did on this one, like so. I didn't want it to be so harsh, so I'll fade that out a bit. It's a bit too much, but that's okay. I wanted it to be a little bit smaller. Gonna take that white watercolor again and just add it. I know we don't have another cherry to like distinguish it from, but I do want to make that side a little bit lighter. I'm gonna pick up my yellow again to add that pop of yellow back in, and I'm also gonna pick up that plum color and add that. Switch brushes quickly here. By the way, the brushes that I'm using, I will hopefully have linked in the description. They are by Grabby if you want to use my links. It's no extra cost to you, but you know, I get a small commission off of them. If you're interested, I had a lot of questions about them in the last few videos, this being filmed in March, so keep that in mind. And I know this won't come out for another 4 months, but in case it's relevant then, I said it now. So I have to let that cherry dry again so that I can add my little highlights. Actually, you know what? You saw me already do it on this cherry. It's very simple. Swipe and a dot. And that's basically it for our cherries. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Don't forget to like, and I will see you in the next tutorial.